I'd like to discuss a little bit about what's going on in Revit 1.1 assignment. We're going to take a look at the existing church building, and we're going to do these functions. We're going to work with Zoom. Using the pan tools, we're going to use class naming protocols, make a Saveas file, examine the view cube, and make our Autodesk education account. You probably don't need to do that because if you downloaded the free trial of Revit, you did that anyway. And then we're also going to finally finish up and rename the file, but we're also going to put in a section view. How do you make a section? You must be on the floor plan, select view, create section. Here's the file we're going to work with, and let's double click it. And then I have to send it to my Revit file, which is also open. Open when done. Cancel the upgrade. You can upgrade the model, but you don't need to. So let's cancel the upgrade. And let's go take, this is not what you probably see when you first open, but I've been playing with this. This is what you see. So let's take off work done previously. Let's delete that. Yes. Delete that because we're going to start over. Delete this. So we see a pretty nice floor plan happening, and we get this nice detail list. This I can close because I just want to focus on our floor plans. We get to see our views. Everything opens up. It's like an expanding catalog of things that can be done. And because we don't see any section on here, let's make a section. You normally start off with the architecture page. This time we're going to go over to view. We're going to choose the section button, and wherever we lay the section on here is the part that we want to cut through the building to see the inside. So let's put it here. As I told you before, you're always in a function until you touch the modify button, and that clears it out. That's like pressing escape in AutoCAD. And as you can see, now I'm starting to create this section. I have this first section. I can rename this if I double click on it. I can see what I've created, and that's very interesting and pretty cool because this would have taken you an hour or so to recreate in AutoCAD, but here I've created a section. Let's go back to that level 1. As you create these, you're creating a tab. So if you want to do so, let's put another section going longitudinally up through the altar place and the front door of our church. We're facing in this direction because this is where the arrows are. Let me show you the zoom feature. So I'm scrolling in to get the zoom in. I'm pressing down to get the pan hand, but this time instead of a pan hand, I'll call it the cursor. I can zoom in other ways too, since that's part of the project we're looking at. If you click your right button, you can see that there's zoom out. There is zoom region. Gives you this magnifying glass, and you can pick the region you want to zoom into. Okay, so I do have a chance. Click on modify to get out of the command, and I can click it, and now I have this fantastic view, the longitudinal section of the church. Use my zoom to get in there. Zoom to fit, which organizes the building. The drawing fits the drawing space, but I want to get even better. I want to do zoom region. I want to see the altar, and I can see there's the lectern, altarpiece, and the backboard, and the exit door. So that's a pretty good process. Let's go back to level 1. Let's zoom out. So we will zoom out 2 times. See if we can keep zooming out. Zoom to fit will be even better because then I can get back to my 0, 0. Let's keep working with zoom region. I've got this little area, using my roller to find it. Here's the cry room. Cry room is a place where folks who are in here, they have a baby crying, they'll take them to the cry room. It's also a place where if your Revit crashes, you go into this room as well. So level 1, and we can even do smaller scale. We can do a section and isolate just the cry room, see what we get, double click, and we can start to see that we're creating these levels. Okay. Oh yes, see, there you go. I was stuck. So when that happens, I have to exit out before I can gauge the next feature. So now you know I've made that mistake twice now, right? I need to click back to the modify to get out of the function I was in. So that's a good heads up. Let's see what else we had in mind. Let's go back to our control document. Okay, so this is what we're going to name it as. Let me just put that in my copy right now. Okay, so we looked for the section in walls, create section. Worked with zoom. We're going to make a file now. We can examine the view cube. Let's see if our view cube is working. Okay, so here's the view cube. When you're in 2 dimensions, you get this nifty view cube, and it kind of does the same thing. You can zoom, right? Zoom with it. You can pan around, which doesn't help you too much. But the cool thing is you can do this rewind feature, and you can kind of go back in time. Okay, right? To other things that you've done. Suppose you want to see the view cube. You have to be in 3D to be. You could get in the 3D view here, or you can get in the 3D view here. I'll choose the most helpful, which is this one. This gives you the standard isometric 3D view that I'm always looking for. When you submit a drawing, this is the way you should leave your drawing if you're going to do it 3 dimensions. But this gives us the view cube shows up when we do that. And the view cube, it's like playing with dice, loaded dice, right? Go to Vegas, you can get your left side view, you can get your front view. You can go in underneath, right? Supposedly we're working on some kind of floor girders that are happening underneath the building. We can look from the worm's eye view up. And it takes a little while to like get used to this particular setup. And you can see it's also thrown on, when I go onto this 3D view, I've taken on, let's get back to our standard 3D view. Okay, so it seems not to like that, so let me go find a standard 3D view. Okay, so the view cube is overriding me. So now I could make my own standard view. So let's, here, this little tiny house, and I've got a really small screen. If I double click that, that's what I was looking for. It should do the same thing as this, but somehow it didn't. But maybe when this is engaged, then I have to use this tiny, tiny little house. Okay. We can see that there's different kind of views, and you can change the view levels. Let's go see if we can do that. I can do hidden view. I can come down here, and it is this little square. And let's do the wireframe. People, this is always what you see when you see a PowerPoint. They always like to show through it. And this is helpful for you because if you're working on a wall, maybe you want the window to line up with the inside door for some reason. Maybe the sun comes in at a certain angle, and you can kind of see both things at once. So that's a superpower that you have. Okay, I'm going to go back to level 1. I've added my 2 section markers, and I've kind of fulfilled the requirements. I would like you to poke around more too, like touching on the wall. See what the properties is giving you. It's showing me the different kind of walls. Just for kicks, I think I'll change the wall type. And look, I've changed the wall type, which also means that when I get into that view, I can probably see a difference. Let's just do it for fun. Let's go. Of course, I'm going to have to change the view again and go back into. Let's go to realistic view. Let's see if this has. It takes a little while when you do realistic because it has to count. It actually has to render it. So here's that nice new wall that I got. You don't want to work in realistic view so much until you're finally done, because realistic view sucks up your memory, makes the machine run slow, and introduces the possibility of crashing. So we always try to keep our drawings simple until we really need to go in there and render them. So I'll go back to wireframe. I'll go back to level 1. I will go zoom to fit, and I believe I am done. Now I'll save it in the way I like to save things, save as. So when you turn it in, this project, I like to save it, like this is a generic Revit building. So I'm going to take that out, put in my new information, because this shows that it's from John Montoya. And so when I turn it into the professor, this file may get mingled with 5 other people, but if we all have different end, I will be able to batch load them down and see them. So let's just save that. And then saving my file to an RVT, and it'll show it up here, and we are good to go. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to push the like button.